What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Stay on Mission podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Lord. I've got my brother Kristian with us today. We're two bros talking about whatever we decide to talk about on a Thursday morning. So, what you got for us, Kristian?
All right, so I got a question.
Okay.
And I want you guys to answer as well. If you could invent a holiday,
If I could invent a holiday, oh Jesus.
what would it be and what would it be about?
If I could invent a holiday, what would it be and what would it be about? I don't know. Do you already have one? The theme running here is it takes me a while to think of one. If I could invent a holiday.
Okay, I got one.
Okay, go for it.
I would do National Adult Recess Day,
National Adult Recess Day. That makes sense.
where there's no every job stops. So every
Okay.
has to stop their job.
Okay.
Corporations, everyone.
Okay.
And everyone has to do some sort of activity
Okay.
the whole day. So
Okay.
whether it's pickleball, whether it's rock climbing, whether it's going to shoot at the range,
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
whatever it is, everyone has to stop work and just be a kid again. So National Adult Recess Day.
So, I like this off the cuff initially,
Yeah.
but then my head goes like, this sounds like the Purge because if the cops have the day off,
Okay.
and the fire department has the day off, and
maybe
you know what I'm saying,
Okay, so maybe you have 2 days. 2 days of it in a row. Half of the country stops.
Okay.
So those cops can.
So if you're on the east side of the Mississippi, your day is this.
Yeah, maybe it's like a zone thing.
And then the cops from the west side of the Mississippi have to go help run
No.
everything on the east side. Okay.
No. So
I think Kristian just actually wants a purge.
Take Collinsville Police Department.
Okay.
Half of the police department gets the day off.
Okay.
On a Monday to do national.
So Hunger Games style, you get a number, and then
Yes,
we'll
but
call
it's-
your number. But it's not the Hunger Games. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, no one's getting killed. Yeah,
I mean,
they're just having fun.
someone might, but
No, I don't know.
not because we advocated for it.
No, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Get adults to be a kid again.
That sounds. Let me think. Well, if I could do a holiday.
That'd be fun.
That would be.
I was like, hey, bro, it's National Adult Recess Day.
Yep.
What do you want to do?
Go fish, go to the range, go whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
That
you
sounds
can
like
do
a cool.
You can do all of them.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah, you have all day. I don't know. What would I? I would replace Halloween completely with Reformation Day.
What's Reformation Day?
So Reformation Day is, I'm sure you know who Martin Luther is, right? And he nailed his theses to it happened on October 31st.
Okay.
So Reformation Day
is original purpose.
Yeah. Well, if we want to go back to its original purpose, that's All Hallows Eve, and that's a Catholic holiday.
Oh.
Well, I say it's a Catholic holiday. It was initiated by the church. The mainline church at that point was the Catholics. So, Halloween has a really assorted past, depending on who you ask. Because some people are going to be like, it's Samhain, and there's actually no historical evidence to back that it actually fell on the day. Halloween gets its name from All Hallows Eve. So November 1st was All Saints Day, where they would remember the martyr saints beforehand.
Right.
And then the 31st is also obviously the eve of that. So it was All Hallows, Holy Eve. And then some of it's more pagan roots, whatever, if you will actually don't start to pop up until much, much later. Because they blame all the Celtic regions of the world and say this is their holiday and Samhain and everything like that. But most of the things that we see where people try to tie it into Samhain actually come after that region of the world was already Christianized. So what do you do? I'm not saying you got to go celebrate Halloween.
That's interesting.
I'm not, there's, for all the people who don't want to celebrate Halloween, we don't really celebrate Halloween in our house. You don't have to. But if you don't want to, just make sure your reasons why, or you don't use something that's not true as a reason why. That's my only...
Always has to be.
Yeah, just giving yourself a good reason. So, you want to tell the people why you got a bar of soap in your hand?
Yeah. All right, so this is called Dr. Squatch. I brought some for my brother Jonathan here.
Apparently I stink.
And, yeah, he stinks all the time. So, you guys never tried Dr. Squatch, go try it. It's pretty amazing stuff. I actually have never tried it, but I've heard it's really good.
It is.
Jonathan's tried it. So, I had a bunch of these, and so I'm giving it to Jonathan.
Is this like a belated birthday present?
Yeah, it's a part of your gift. And then
Okay.
Dr. Squatch, if you want to
Yeah, Dr. Squatch, hit us up.
promote us, that'd be awesome. We can promote your stuff. Just give us a shout out and we'll do it.
All right. Well,
They have like a lot of different,
yeah, I'm trying to remember the one that I use that my wife likes a lot.
I almost said flavors, but it's not flavors.
Yeah, I don't know what else you call. I mean, it sounds scents. There you go.
Yeah,
Set that.
scents. And
They can't see it from there, but we'll set it right there.
I think they have just like body, like actual liquid soap and stuff like that too. So
Yeah, they've got a bunch of stuff. It's all pretty good.
go check out Dr. Squatch.
I think I've used it before. Anyways,
What are we talking about?
So we talked before about brotherhood and everything like that, and then I'm sure most of you know, if you've been watching for at least for a little bit, that we're both involved in youth ministry and things of that nature. And one of the things we wanted to talk to you guys some about is the potential of this generation. And as we were talking, right, we kind of laid out three main things. Potential has a wide definition, right, or at least a wide application of it. So potential for this next generation is they can fix the craziness that's going on in this world. Mm-hmm. They can advocate their responsibility and maybe slow the rot that is going on in this country.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, 6'7" makes me a little concerned that they may not be able to. But
We had those certain things too.
Or just like all the other generations before them, they have the potential to
make it worse.
So, Kristian, why don't you start us off with that first one? What is the potential? What is the potential you see in this generation to fix what's going on in this world, and particularly in our country?
I think there's a lot of positive potential to fix.
Definitely would agree.
And with the kids that I work with, one thing that I see that was different from my generation is that there's not really necessarily a lot of bullying or
Okay.
just like being straight up just mean to people.
Okay. A little kinder.
Yeah, a little more kind-hearted. I would say the desire and want for Jesus is definitely there.
Mm-hmm.
Like they hunger. I think that the biggest thing for me is the hunger for Jesus and the hunger for something bigger than themselves.
Yeah. No, and I think from even the statistics are showing that Gen Z, which Gen Z is a little bit older than like this youth, but Gen Z, particularly Gen Z males, are like flocking back to the church.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see if as this generation continues to grow, if they'll follow that same trend or if it'll be something really, really unique to Gen Z. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes. And then I think one thing and one trend I'm seeing with the young men specifically is that they are turning more away from liberal thinking and ideas and more towards really wanting to be a man. Like doing manly things.
That is 110% true, and what I've seen too is.
So.
No, I would agree.
It's like the evil side of things, which is Satan is trying to sissify the man, and this younger generation, like the 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds, they're like, I want nothing to do with that. Like, I'm sick of people trying to tell me to be more feminine, and I want to get back to roots of being, a man.
Yep.
Getting out in the outdoors, touching grass, those things that are all positives for me that I see.
No, I would agree. I think, in not to shameless plug, but I think that's where something like this podcast comes into is so important for this next generation, because most of those young men want and desire real masculinity. Mm-hmm. but they haven't been shown it, nor do they have people in their lives that are showing them that. So with us being, the whole point behind this podcast is being staying on mission, which is really just equipping men to stay on mission with the Great Commission, which is to create disciples, right? Men need to be finding themselves, especially if you're a Christian male and you are in the late 20s or even your mid 20s, really. But if you're in your mid 20s to older than that, and you don't have a young man that you are discipling,
right,
then, bro, you need to fix yourself. Like, and it's not hard. It's really not hard. Like, we both have a young man that we disciple together a lot. That I think both you and I would agree, for the most part, it's really just taking an interest in them, being intentional, inviting them in. We've both let this young man become a part of our families to an extent. I know he goes and does a lot of work with you, and then he's a part of my youth group. So we've got, I think, well, if we want to talk about potential, what this next generation, and before I get into that too, it just kind of follows. I mean, it's biblical even, that if you can get the young men to get on board, the young women will follow.
100%.
And that's not, obviously not to denigrate or make less than women or the young women, but it's how God designed it. God designed males to be the head. So when males lead and love well, everyone flourishes.
Yes.
And if we want to see these young men, if we want to see the potential for this next generation to really fix some things, it's going to take people like you and me and people like you guys to, one, take your relationship with the Lord seriously, I think is first and foremost, obviously. And then two, being intentional about discipling this next generation. And really, like I said, all it comes down to is just being intentional about bringing them in, loving them, holding them accountable. Because they're looking for masculinity, but what we don't want is Andrew Tate masculinity.
No.
Like, I don't care what anyone has to say about that dude. It's not good what he's doing, and Lord willing, I mean, if he gets his life together and repents and fixes all of this stuff, like, the dude probably has some good qualities about him that, when submitted to the lordship of Jesus Christ, could be very, very powerful tool in the hand of the Lord. But right now, from what I can tell, and quite frankly, I haven't seen him online as much as he used to be. Maybe it's just because that's not on my feed anymore. But yeah, I think we don't want that kind of masculinity being touted about is the way to do it. So
yeah, that's good.
So
I think those three things. I mean, I feel like kids nowadays aren't as outwardly like mean face to face. At least on social media, they probably are.
Social media is rough.
That's probably one of the downfalls we'll talk about. But what was the second one I said? I don't remember.
Oh no, they were your list.
The last one was the young men.
Yeah.
And hunger.
Yeah, they definitely had a hunger for Jesus.
And hunger for something bigger than themselves.
No,
and also, I feel like they're more vulnerable now, with themselves than
like with each other.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In small group settings, when you're intentional with getting them together and being intentional.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting observation. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm wondering, like, I'm just comparing that to my experience as a kid their age, and I had a pretty tight friend group. We weren't necessarily all living for the Lord, so that's not good. But interesting. Yeah, it's interesting you said about this desire. I think this with Gen Z and younger and everything like that. The secular humanism was tried, and they realized that, like, this isn't working. So they're looking for something transcendent. They realize that, I think most Gen Z and younger, at least the men, are realizing, like, we've made man God and seen where it's got us. So there's got to be something bigger than us that we hold to. And I think that that is what has ultimately driven them to look for something that is transcendent. And thankfully, by the grace of God, the foundations of America are built on Christian values. So when you go look for the transcendent here in America, you inevitably have to at least, I don't, theologically, you don't try Jesus, right? But at the very least, they're like, the Christian church, the Christian faith is the one that you go to, and that's because it's the right one, you know? So,
all right. So what was the second?
So we've got the second thing that these students, these next generation, could potentially be doing is just kind of advocating their responsibilities and their role, and let the status quo continue to happen, and we just continue this slow rot of.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's simple. I think it's that they continue to conform to the pattern of the world.
Yeah. Now, I'll be honest, I think that's probably the least likely to happen. Just because our world is becoming so polarized.
Yeah.
That
we're gonna pick a side.
That they're either going to be, I don't want to use this word, but radicalized to either way. So I think that the likelihood that they just let it, just kind of the everything, the way things are, the status quo continue to happen. I think that is probably the least likely, because they're either going to completely jump on board for Jesus and go and preach the gospel and make disciples. And I believe that, at least in the political sphere, if you have good, strong Christian values, that puts you on the conservative end of things, at least the right wing end of things. You can disagree with me if you want, but I know you agree with me on that, but the people may not. But I think that's the least likely to go. I think they're either going to see what's happening and jump completely in one way or the other. Yeah. So that's my observation.
Yeah. I agree. So let's talk about the third one. Third one is...
They let it go to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, let it get worse. And what would that look like for this generation if that happened? What would they have to do or not do to let it get worse?
What do you think? What's your observations?
I think a couple things. Number one, they continue to let social media control their life. That's the number one tactic of the enemy right now in kids' lives, is the social media.
Yep.
Because from that's where a lot of them develop their belief system in who God is. And
TikTok theologians.
Yeah, and also...
Which I guess I am one now, so... Yeah.
This country, too, like how this country functions and what this country is founded on and what we are all about as a country. Kids learn most of the time from social media. And that's a dangerous weapon that the enemy uses against our kids. So I think letting them continue to be controlled by social media is number one. And I think number two is the universities, colleges.
This is coming from a guy with a degree.
Yeah, I have 2 degrees. I have
a
graduate degree and a master's degree, and which is really not that impressive. I mean, it's something that you just get done. So I say that in not a boastful way or like it wasn't hard. It was hard and challenging, but one thing I cannot stand is like when someone has a doctorate degree and they think they know everything. Think they're better than you. Think they're better, smarter than you. That's not the case.
Well,
it's not true.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I think that these kids are pressured so much, even in the public education world in high school, to get great scores on your ACT, get these things so you get a scholarship to go to university, and then you get to the university and 90% of the professors are going to shove bullcrap down your throat. And these kids are listening to it. I mean, they sit there and listen to it because they think that's what makes them smarter and more qualified for a job. And so then they just like, okay, this is true. And they slowly, how the enemy works, slowly he puts little lies in their head. And then they start believing those little lies until it's like their whole psyche and their whole thought process and their whole belief system is changed.
Yeah.
And then they vote differently. They see things differently that they would not in the past, or what their parents raised them up to do, if their parents raised them right. And I think it's the number two way the enemy attacks is through the university.
Yeah, no, I think I think in general that's a good statement. That and it's interesting. You're bringing up this thing that like that college and the university being what has maybe historically been called one of those. I lost my train of thought. Cultural shaping institutions, right? That it would be used by the enemy for a negative thing. And so many people are going to think, well, college is a neutral ground. It's not anymore. And at the end of the day, in a war, in a real war, in the Bible talks about how we're always in a war, right? I think it's I'm going to butcher this John Piper quote. But it's something to the effect of, you are always at war. Not that everything is war, but you're always at war. Something like that. And if you don't know who Dr. John Piper is, and you're a Christian, I don't know where you've been at, but, obviously pastor, theologian. And when you're in a war, there really actually isn't anything that's a neutral ground. There's nothing neutrally used in warfare, especially in spiritual warfare. It's either going to be used for... Now, there can be things that are neutral in the sense that they could be used either way. But right now, I think particularly the university system is on whole. I'm sure there are great professors out there that profess and love Jesus, and I'm sure there are. Never been, so I don't know.
Yeah, I had so many professors.
Yeah, but even in so many of the Christian universities, I've heard horror stories of,
for sure.
And it just kind of makes you wonder a little bit, in my opinion, like these Christian universities, they hire these atheistic, secular humanists for professors. I'm like, wait, how are you? That's a whole other topic for a different conversation. It's just interesting. I'm like, you claim Christ, yet you're allowing someone who represents you to profess something differently.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's interesting. But I think the cultural shaping things that we have around us is, and this is something I wrestle with a little bit, is like, how do we either completely shun them altogether?
The universities?
Well, all the cultural shaping. So social media is culturally shaping, right? Because at the end of the day, the people who run it are going to decide what's get pushed, right? So you can have Christian or non-Christian views can get pushed. You can have left or right wing things that get pushed. And I think most of us would agree that on social media in particular, most of the time, not saying that Christians can't be successful on social media, obviously they are. But you just wonder, are they as popular? Like, the most popular social media influencers are probably not Christians. Why?
Right.
Like, we carry the greatest message. So, and it's lasted as long as it has. So you've got something like social media, and then they've been attacked, and unfortunately, parents, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will tell you to do this. You need to hold off on the social media and the phone as long as you can. Me and my wife heard this from Pastor Joby's getting a shout out again, but we've kind of adopted it and tried to do that. Is we don't want to be first and we don't want to be last in anything when it comes to introducing something to our kids. But hold off on the phone and hold off on the social media as long as you can, because at the end of the day, is neutral in the sense that it can be used for both good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in general it's a net negative for most people. So I say all that to say you've got these young people that are on social media and they're seeing what they're seeing, and they're in general getting fed negativity. And if we want to, the whole thing is like, what are we going to do? How do they continue to not just allow the general degrade of Western society happen, but how do they actually make it worse? I honestly think social media is a big part of just leading them to how do I say this? We've got to train up this next generation if we want to keep them from doing this, to think critically about things. And I think if we don't show them and teach them and disciple them on how to think critically on certain things, then they will more than likely, because of the cultural shaping things around them, buy into the left-leaning, woke, hyper-liberal.
All rooted in evil.
Yes, which is all rooted in evil. They will lean into that just because that is what they're going to be fed by. I mean, even in public school, and I know you're a public educator, and this isn't to, once again, I'm sure there are...
Public education is great.
And I'm sure there are marvelous public educators, and we also live in Oklahoma where, in general, we're conservative, but you were talking about the colleges and how colleges are going super duper liberal. But then from my observation, it seems like the most liberal section of these liberal schools is the education department. I mean, you might be you
colleges?
Of colleges.
I don't know. I have to do some research.
So
some data on that.
You've got if that is true, which I tend to believe it is. Then you've got even...
You say education, do you mean like higher education? Like
so the education departments of higher education tend to be...
For people to be professors.
Yeah, well, so training the teachers, the people training teachers and giving them degrees, tend to be the most liberal.
I think in liberal states, yeah.
So, obviously I'm not saying that all teachers are coming out as liberals. I know that's not true, because I'm sitting next to someone who's not. But... what that means is, on a whole, the most woke, we'll just call it what it is, the most woke ideology is being pushed as aggressively on the people who are being trained to go educate our kids.
Right. So I would agree with that to an extent. So I'll let you finish your point.
So I like to say, like, we've got to teach these kids to think critically, because here's the thing, we've been... 100%. Woke has been in the colleges at least the past 10 years, probably creeping in longer than that. So we are not and it's probably the most deeply ingrained into the colleges more than any other culturally shaping institution.
It was ingrained in there when my parents were in college.
So...
It's like 30 years ago.
Yeah, so I look at that and I go, okay, there's probably not a quick fix to at least higher education on getting it unwoke. Just based on how deeply ingrained it is. And... the turnover rate of, right? I mean, it's not like teachers are necessarily... I mean, you're getting new teachers every single year that are graduating with their degrees, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the old teachers are leaving. Does it make sense? So we've got to... We're not just going to be able to get rid of all the wokeness in education, and particularly in higher education, within a few years. So... the key, I think, with this younger generation is to help them and teach them to think critically.
Start a culture.
So that when they get presented with this stuff, they go, that doesn't pass the sniff test.
I like it.
That's not going to work.
I think that's the answer. I think you're exactly right. I think it's teaching kids, both young women and men, to think critically for themselves. Because you see that in every decision, social media that they start believing in, or every time they go to a college and they start getting indoctrinated by professors that all their belief system is rooted in evil, they start to believe that because they don't think critically for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that is some fault to the public education system, some fault to parenting.
I would put most of the fault on the parent.
And some fault to just the culture we live in, is that you do what you see on social media, or you do what your teacher tells you to do.
Yep.
And you never think critically for yourself.
Yeah.
And so, and parents don't parent the way they should.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, why did you make this decision? Or I give you this scenario, I want you to make that decision for yourself and tell me why you made that decision.
Yeah.
And so I think that's exactly right. I
No.
think that critical thinking is huge for kids.
And I want to just jump on this for a minute. It might get me in trouble, but I don't care.
Before you do that, I want to go back to the critical thinking thing. So I'll give you a real life example. I'll give everyone a real life example of college, universities, and how they try to shape right now, today, kids' minds in the educational world. This is just an example. My sister, Carissa, is 5 years younger than me. She just graduated from UCO.
Okay.
Which I would consider UCO a very liberal college.
Okay.
In a lot of different ways. But she was in education, elementary education.
Okay.
One of her classes, this is how ridiculous it is nowadays, one of her classes was supposed to be teaching her how to teach in the classroom, classroom management or something like that.
Okay.
And she told me this, many times they would spend a whole class period just talking about transgenderism, talking about the right to have abortions, all these things that are rooted in evil.
What does that have to do with
exactly
with the classroom management of
exactly.
You said lower elementary?
Elementary education.
Elementary education. See?
So
that's what we're talking about.
This is like a real life story.
Yeah, no, that's dumber than a box of rocks.
This is like a class she had 2 semesters ago.
That's wild.
She's telling me this, I'm like, that doesn't surprise me.
No, I'm not surprised.
But that's what the professors are doing. My sister, she told me this was like, out of like the 30 kids in that class, was the only one that disagreed with what the professor was saying. Yeah.
Wow.
All the other students, 29 of them, whatever, 25, whatever, were like shaking their head yes, because this one professor was, preaching this evil.
Yeah.
Just the evil, man. That's what it's all rooted in. All this wokeness stuff. It's all spiritual.
100%.
Like, the battle is not against flesh and blood, it's against evil, and that's how the enemy is using college to indoctrinate our kids. And so when the Charlie Kirk things happened, when he would go into college universities and you would see these kids rally around him like, yeah, the truth. It's like, that's what we need to fight for.
Yeah. And just, I'm curious of like how many of those kids in that class actually agreed with what this lady was saying. Right. And so, or
is it herd mentality?
Or were they just not, gotta call it what it is, too cowardly?
Yeah,
too cowardly to at least not sit there and nod my head along with it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, everyone else is doing it, so I don't want to hurt any feelings. Yeah. Because that's our culture nowadays. I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
And I don't want to stand up for the truth. Because a lot of those kids probably never were taught the truth.
Well, and because we were taught to be nice.
Yeah.
We were taught, this is no knock against, my parents, but I'm sure we would all agree, like, we've all heard our parents be like, hey, be nice. You don't need to be nice. You don't need to, nice is not a biblical quality.
That's a good point, because I think my sister she's like the most soft-spoken, gentle.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Girl I know, but my parents raised us to not be nice. To be kind and loving.
Yes, kindness
and
is a fruit of the Spirit.
They showed us through that and their actions.
Yeah.
How they gave, how they loved people, how they took care of us, how they took care of people. But never once did my dad say, be nice.
Oh, well, praise God for that.
But praise God for that.
Praise God for that.
I think it's that kind of parenting and that's that wisdom that God used through my parents to my sister, Carissa, who's in that generation where all the wokeness is happening.
Yeah.
And she was able to be like, no.
Yeah.
Like, this is so stupid.
Your sister and my sister are probably about the same age.
Yeah. She was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is not the truth. Mm-hmm. This is the furthest from the truth.
Well, and that's the just Fun fact I've learned recently: the word nice actually originally meant stupid. It was actually originally an insult. If you call someone nice,
being nice is stupid.
Well, being nice is it is, and I don't want to. We can get off into that.
There's a difference between nice and kind. That can be a whole different topic.
There is a difference between nice and kind, and kindness is a fruit of the spirit. Is a biblical quality to have. Niceness is not.
And I think that's exactly right. I think that this generation coming up needs to be less nice.
Yes, they don't need to be.
They need to be more kind.
They need to be taught. I think another thing, just because it's on there, and one of the big things that we're here to do is help parents to raise their children, is in that same vein, don't tell your kids be careful. Tell them to make smart decisions.
Mm-hmm. Tell them to think critically.
Yeah, but how many times does be careful actually mean, we both got young kids, right? Mm-hmm. You're watching your kid climb up on something and you say, be careful. Mm-hmm. But what do you actually mean? Mm-hmm. Don't do that. Get out.
Yeah.
Don't stop climbing on that.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of, hey, make good decisions. Be wise.
Yeah, or hey, you can do that, but just know, if you get up there and you fall down, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, well, and I think that's another thing is let your kids get hurt. Yeah. Let your kids make their own dumb decisions and deal with the consequences. Obviously, within the realm and the space of their age.
Obviously, when Jordy last night, my year and a half year old was climbing on the rails of the stairs, and there was a 15-foot drop off.
Yeah, no, we don't do that.
We're like, no, we don't do that.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
But if he's crawling on a 5-foot drop, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, climbs up on a stool or something like that.
Yeah, if you fall and, get hurt for a little bit.
You'll be okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, thankfully, my son he can't reach the bottom branch in the tree in our backyard yet, so I'm very thankful for that, just at this point. Not that I don't want him to climb, but it's kind of one of those things where it's that tree's got branches that'll support him up, pretty good height in the air, and it's I don't need him figuring out that he can climb up there just yet. Let's wait just a little bit long. Once you can reach the bottom branch, we're shoot, start climbing.
Yeah.
But
before this thought says my mind, the connection of what you've been talking about, how to raise your kids, and how sometimes parents nowadays can do protect, keep safe, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. How it connects into them getting out of the household into the colleges is that they are getting, when you do that, when you parent them like that, don't do this. Mm-hmm. Be careful. Don't do this. It's training them to only rely on what you tell them to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then, when they get to the college, what's their whole basis of knowing what to do? Having an adult that they trust tell them what to do.
Yeah.
So then they're like, the professors are like, wokeism, transgenderism,
do what I say.
Abortion. This is what you should do. Hate your parents.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, and once again, coming back to thinking critically and all those things is because we don't teach our kids to think critically, we teach our kids do what I say. Mm-hmm. We teach our kids obedience,
which transitions into adulthood, which they believe everything that's
and because we never teach the think critically, and we never really see. I think what we end up doing is we teach our little children to obey, which is good. Kids need to learn follow instructions. They need to learn I'm the parent. I'm setting the ground rules here. There are certain things you can and can't do, and when I tell you can't do it.
Honor your
but at some point, you go from authoritarian is not the right word, but I think you get what I'm getting at, to coach. And you're coaching your kids on how to make the right decisions, on how to do what to do, on how to suffer with the consequences of their own actions. And then from there, you just become a friend. And now friendship with your kids happens after they graduate and move on and all that other kind of stuff. But I think so many parents aren't doing the thing where they go, they teach their kid blind obedience. Mm-hmm. They never give them a reason why. Mm-hmm. They have rules that, and I'm not sitting here trying to tell any parent what their rules should be, but they have rules that are just arbitrary, or because they don't want to get out there and engage with their kid in such a way that they may have to think critically and figure out why. Like there are things that even in conversations with me and my wife, we'll be having a conversation like, okay, are we gonna let the kids go do this? Is this something we want to consider for our kids? And one of the things I inevitably try to ask in some way, shape, or form is why. If we're not gonna do this, what is our why? Are we just doing it because it makes me uncomfortable and I don't know enough about it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fine for a season, but we should probably educate ourselves beyond something like, I just don't like it. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at this. I'm not ever guilty of like, no, I don't want to go do that because I don't like it or we don't want to engage in this. But the same thing for the things you are going to allow. Why are we going to allow this? Example is my oldest wanted to get involved in volleyball with the local YMCA. And we missed the deadline for her to sign up last year, so I told her this year, okay, the next year we'll sign you up and we'll do this. Well, I found out even it's still at her age, it's co-ed. Absolutely not. You will not compete against a male. Ever. I'm not training my daughters to ever think that to look at another male and go, that's my competition. I want my daughters to look at men, to look at boys, to look at the male and see that is someone who should protect me, who should value me, and should take care of me. So, and I understand they're still, younger teenagers. But younger teenagers are stronger than girls by a long shot. I mean, my 3-year-old son's just as strong as my 7-year-old daughter. And neither one of them are, anywhere near adulthood. So I told, I had done enough to build that relationship with my daughter, obviously, that when I told her, like, no, I won't let you compete against boys. I just won't. And she accepted it, so now we're having to do the work to find another volleyball league that she can sign up that's not co-ed. But she's in that spot now where she heard my why of, no, I don't want you to ever look at a male and think, even in sport, I got to compete against this guy, that he's my competition. And I don't want to train, because obviously if you're going to train for a sport, sport should just be fun. Bull, you're there to win. You're there to win. You're there to learn teamwork, how to hustle, and and should learn the positive feelings that come with winning. Now, I'm not speaking about, obviously we don't want arrogancy or hyper competitiveness, but we also want people to be competitive because this world is competitive. As much as the left wants to push it, DEI is not a thing in real life, and at least it shouldn't be. So you've got to learn to hustle and work hard and earn for it, and sports is a great way to teach that. But I didn't want her to ever, I don't want to feed into any boy looking at a girl and going, I need to absolutely dominate this chick. I'm here to win. So I'm going to do whatever I can within the bounds of, rules and regulations and all this other stuff. But I'm going to do everything I can to beat this girl. I don't think that's a healthy mindset for any male to have, is this is my competition and I must beat them. So
I think I have on that YMCA's rec, like rec ball. So I see why it's co-ed there.
No, I do too. I'm not knocking YMCA.
Yeah,
I'm just,
when you do competition, when you're gonna go compete, I see your point. I have a little different opinion, but
that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. It can be wrong. I'm just kidding.
It can be wrong.
It can be wrong. No, I'm just joking.
So I think that's a different topic.
Yeah, but we can talk about that next week.
Yeah. I don't know. My first thought was like, if I have a girl, then me and Sam are both so competitive and competitors that I'd be like, you go whip that boy's butt.
Well, and I don't think there's anything, like, I'm pro my daughters wanting to be competitive. And I'm not so a stickler on this that, like, we're at a family function or whatever, hanging out and it's like, and a game of flag football or volleyball or whatever the thing's going on and be like, can I go play? No, there's boys out there. No.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, when it comes down to, like, I'm going to spend extra time training and doing this thing and then showing up to the game and be like, that's my opponent, and and I have to defeat them. I don't want that for my girls. Now, in a family, fun-loving situation where, yes, we're competing, but at the end of the day, I'm not trying to. Like, our families show up and like, hey, let's play some volleyball, let's play some football. Our kids are young, so they're probably not going to be very good at it. But one day, you and me will be all-time QBs as the boys, run around, and we make them run all the passes and everything like that. One day, that day will come. It's not, at the end of the day, like, I want to win, but I'm not trying to destroy you.
Yeah.
And if I were to ever see one of my son get overly aggressive in a game of backyard football, or whatever, I'd be like, hey, you need to sit out. We're not trying to hurt these people.
But I think there is, like you said, there's a valuable thing there in competition. We got to teach this generation to compete in a healthy way.
And win.
Because it transitions into spiritual warfare, transitions into winning for your future family, working hard and competing and giving everything you've got every single day.
Well, if you don't think that spiritual warfare takes some grit, you've been sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. So, do you want to wrap this thing up?
Yeah.
I think three main things took away from this thing is this generation has so much potential.
110%.
And if you ever think that it doesn't, you're wrong. So, teenagers out there, I'm telling you right now, your potential is sky high.
And parents of teenagers.
Yes, and parents of teenagers. Your kids are so important, and you need to wake up to the idea that there's a battle going on, that the enemy is after your kids.
Yep.
And parent your kids then to think critically. I think that's the second point.
Yep.
If you don't even have kids yet of your own, you find a young boy or young girl, if you're a girl, a 30-year-old woman that has no kids yet or doesn't plan to have kids, which is perfectly okay. But you find a girl that you can disciple, and you disciple her to think critically for herself and to do the things that the Lord has called her to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third thing is to be gritty, to compete, and to teach these kids to have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Not take it too seriously.
No, I would agree.
But also take it seriously when they need to.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Cool.
You want to pray this thing out this time?
Yeah, sure.
Let's pray this thing out.
Let's do it.
All right. Father, we just thank you for this day. God, I thank you for this opportunity. Lord, as we look to this next generation as the ones who are tasked to lead and disciple them. Lord, don't let us abdicate our responsibility to disciple them, but disciple them well, to lead them closer to you. That their potential will be pointed in the right direction, and that they can take on the world and change it for your glory. Mm-hmm. We love you and we thank you, and it's in Jesus' name that I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Deuces.
See you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching this episode of the Stay on Mission podcast. If you like this content and found it helpful, please like it and share it with someone you know. And subscribe to keep up with everything we're doing. Thank you again for listening. Stay strong. Stay sharp. Stay on mission.